All right, let's talk about this tech trade. We've got shares of Nvidia that are pulling back today. The big news, of course, yesterday, it topped $3 trillion in market value. It's under that again. I imagine that they're going to cross that line a couple of times before picking a definitive direction, either above or below. You have to remember as well, the company is doing a 10-for-1 stock split. That is set to take place tomorrow after the market close. There's been some horse trading between Nvidia and Apple as the second most valuable company. And the next stop, of course, would be dethroning Microsoft. Hatem Dhiab is the managing partner at Gerber, Kawasaki Wealth and Investment Management. Hatem, thanks so much for joining us. I don't know, does it really matter that it's a $3 trillion company, or does it matter what it was worth a year ago and now it's a $3 trillion company?
Hey, Amber, thanks for having me on. Honestly, I mean, $1 trillion in 3 months in market cap growth, it's pretty incredible. Does it matter? It definitely makes for great headlines. Nvidia does, basically Apple, which is obviously was the king before yesterday, does 4 times the revenue and 7 times the profit. So I think people should put that in perspective when thinking about what to own going forward. For me, the growth story is obviously incredible. And can Nvidia sustain that growth is really what people are looking for.
I think it's a really important point to underline. Apple's $400 billion in revenue and Nvidia's $6 billion in revenue. But yesterday, Nvidia was more valuable. And I know the market's forward-looking, and it's, you know, looking at the momentum that Nvidia has. But, I mean, one of these companies, do you think, is getting it wrong? Either Nvidia is overvalued or Apple is underpriced.
That's the $1 trillion question, right? Listen, Apple is definitely has been has been behind in the AI strategy, right? And next week we're going to have WWDC, their developer conference, and we're going to have a lot of information around what Apple is going to do around AI, right? Nvidia has been the winner, no doubt about that. Apple is going to show us that they have the goods. And I think next week, that's why it's going to be very, very important to know what's going to happen for the next 5 to 10 years with Apple.
So there's a lot of reporting, Hatem, that the goods are going to be ChatGPT's goods, that they're going to just announce a partnership. And whether that's a near-term solution, 3 to 5 years while they work on their own stuff, do you believe that that's what Apple's going to do? And B, is that really a needle mover for Apple?
I think Apple is very smart to partner up with ChatGPT because they're the leaders in the space. So what Apple is, I think, doing is making up for lost time by partnering up with a leader in the space on the large models, right? So if you want to go and run some models outside of Apple's ecosystem, you go to ChatGPT, but then you're going to run the small models within Apple's ecosystem. So what you're doing here is Apple taking a completely different approach to AI, whereby they don't have to spend all the money that a large hyperscalers are spending to build these large models, but rather finding the leader and partnering up with them.
Are the gains, though, in for Apple? And I ask that because before the quarter, you know, when it bottomed out in April, it's already run up nearly 20% going into the conference.
I think, listen, there is nobody out there that can do better software and hardware integration. And if you think about AI and you think about inference and you think about how important for this integration to happen, you can't think of Apple not being the winner there, right? Again, Apple is historically a company that takes a long time. They're very methodical about their approach, you know, and they just never are the first into anything. But when they do it properly, right? So I think Apple thought long and hard about how to build these models in a way that makes sense, how to integrate their own silicon, their own chips, both in the data centers and on the iPhones, and how to partner up with the leaders to be able to offer, applications like Siri and Notes and Safari, who are highly, highly productive to us as consumers.
How much do you think they spend on this AI revolution?
I mean, they spend a ton of money on R&D already, and a lot of people wonder where that's going. Again, I think with Apple, money has never been an issue. As you said, they do $400 billion in revenue, over $100 billion in profits. So I think they will spend as much as they need to. But again, what Apple is thinking about is how does AI provide their consumers, their products more value, right? How is Siri going to work for me? How is it going to improve my creative process? How is it going to improve my life? And I think they will spend whatever they need to make that a possibility.
How is it going to show up in growth, I think, is the number one question for shareholders. Does it lead to more device sales? Because that's still their primary business. Does it allow them to turbocharge services growth?
Yeah, such a great question. It's really the power of the ecosystem, right? I think with these new iPhones, they're probably AI-empowered iPhones, we're going to see a massive upgrade cycle, right? There is over, I think, 40% of the install base is still iPhone 12s or below. I think this is going to give a huge incentive for people to upgrade their iPhones. So that's one. Two is the ecosystem, right? You're going to have a ton of developers building a lot of AI-empowered apps and tools. So that's going to power up their service business. And then obviously just having a lot more service revenue coming in because we rely on our iPhones a lot more.
You know, let's take a little bit of a step back, you know, from all of this hype. Nvidia, you know, driving this, Apple is holding up, but it really seems to be sucking the oxygen out of the rest of the market. And I know a lot of people want to say this is different from the tech bubble, but in some ways it's not. You know, when you get this narrower concentration, when an entire market is being essentially held up by one stock, isn't that problematic?
I mean, listen, you're absolutely right. You have three companies that are $10 trillion in market cap, basically a fifth of all of the US market. But also they're really kind of bringing so much revenue and so much profits, right? So that's, I think, what's different from what we've seen in 2000 and the 90s per se. But ultimately, you're right. Like, we need to see this AI kind of craze go beyond Apple and Nvidia per se, because, you know, we can't have just one company do, you know, 30% of the S&P profits or revenues, basically.